Hello, IT administrators and system architects. Welcome. Today, we're going to completely demystify single sign-on deployment within Cisco Contact Center environments. Look, whether you're managing a couple hundred agents or scaling all the way up to a massive 24,000-seat enterprise, getting your SSO architecture right is absolutely fundamental to your center's security and efficiency. So let's just dive right in.
Think about your agent's daily workflow for a second. Why force them to juggle multiple passwords across Cisco Finesse, Unified Intelligence Center, and all those other browser-based apps? I mean, password fatigue is a very real thing, and it directly leads to locked accounts, endless help desk tickets, and just generally frustrated staff. Single sign-on is the silver bullet solution here. It lets your supervisors and agents sign in exactly once to get secure access to all their authorized Cisco browser applications, all within a single browser instance. It's cleaner, it's vastly more secure. And for you as the IT admin, it lets you enforce your corporate password policies from one single central directory.
All right, so here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with SSO architecture and message flow, then move into choosing your deployment mode, followed by hardware and agent reference designs. After that, we'll hit identity providers, SAML requirements, managing Cisco IDS certificates, and wrap up with IT configuration and user migration.
Okay, Section 1, SSO architecture and message flow. Let's map out the exact interaction between the browser, Cisco Finesse, the Cisco Identity Service or IDS, and your identity provider, the IDP. When a user navigates over to the Finesse desktop, Finesse instantly detects that SSO is enabled and seamlessly redirects that browser right to the Cisco IDS. Now, if the user doesn't already have an active token, the IDS generates a SAML authentication request and redirects the browser again, but this time it sends them straight to your identity provider, something like Microsoft ADFS or Okta. The key takeaway here? The applications themselves literally never see the user's password. All of that authentication happens directly against the IDP.
Actually, let's break this down using a VIP club analogy. Think of your identity provider as the bouncer at the door. You present your ID, your credentials, to the bouncer. If you're on the guest list, the bouncer hands you a ticket, which in our technical world is a SAML assertion. You then take that ticket over to the VIP host, which is our Cisco IDS. The IDS validates your ticket and boom, hands you the coveted backstage pass, an OAuth access token. From that exact point on, your browser just flashes that access token to Cisco Finesse or CUIC, and you are granted immediate access. It's a highly secure, beautifully orchestrated exchange.
Moving right along to Section 2, choosing your deployment mode.
So you basically have three available deployment modes to choose from. First, you've got SSO, which just turns it on globally for all agents and supervisors. Then you have Non-SSO, which is basically status quo. It just uses your existing local authentication. But the real powerhouse here is hybrid mode. Hybrid lets you selectively enable SSO for very specific agents and supervisors. This is an absolute game changer if you want to execute a phased rollout, or say if you're using third-party web apps inside Finesse that just don't support single sign-on yet. You can literally have part of your floor on SSO and the rest on traditional login, running perfectly side by side.
Let's jump to Section 3, hardware and agent reference designs. Now, Cisco provides some very strict reference designs based on your total agent count. If you're running a smaller deployment, say 2,000 agents or fewer, you actually get to save some server resources. Your Cisco IDS can be co-resident. That means it runs on the exact same virtual machine as your Unified Intelligence Center and live data. However, the very second you scale up to those 4,000, 12,000, or 24,000 agent reference designs, a standalone Cisco IDS VM becomes absolutely mandatory. No exceptions. You really have to isolate that authentication traffic to guarantee high availability and performance at scale.
All right, Section 4, Identity Provider SAML Requirements.
For the system architects tuning in, here are your absolute non-negotiables. First off, your identity provider must be strictly SAML 2.0 compliant. SAML 1.1? Yeah, that's not going to cut it. Second, and I really cannot stress this enough, NTP time synchronization is absolutely mandatory across your IDS, your IDP, and all client nodes. Why? Because those access tokens we talked about have incredibly strict lifetimes. Even a tiny split-second time drift between servers will cause instant authentication failures. Finally, when you're configuring your relying party trust, make sure the secure hash algorithm is set to SHA-256 for proper security compliance.
Down to Section 5, Managing Cisco IDS Certificates. For Finesse to communicate securely with the Cisco IDS, they inherently need to trust each other.
Now, if you are using self-signed certificates, the procedural workflow here is super precise. You have to log into the operating system administration of your Cisco IDS on both side A and side B. You locate the Tomcat certificate, download it as a .pem file to your local machine, and then import that exact file right into your Finesse Trust Store as a Tomcat Trust certificate. Once you've imported it on both the primary and secondary Finesse nodes, you have to reboot Finesse. It's a bit of a meticulous process, sure, but it is the literal bedrock of your secure communication.
And finally, Section 6, IT configuration and user migration.
When it comes to actually migrating your users, leveraging the Administration Bulk Jobs tool makes things incredibly efficient. You definitely do not want to be doing this one by one. You simply download the SSO migration template, which is just a standard Excel file, and look for the column labeled New Username. Right there, you map your existing agents to their new SSO network usernames. Then upload that file back into the Bulk Jobs tool, and the system seamlessly updates the database. Once everyone is safely mapped over, you can go ahead and flip that global switch to enable SSO.
But listen up, because here is a massive warning pulled directly from the deployment guides. Do not, under any circumstances, change an agent's login name while they are actively logged into the Finesse desktop. If you swap a username mid-shift, it will completely prevent that agent from answering or placing any calls, even though they might look fine and can still toggle their ready state. It's a huge headache. Bulk migrations must be done after hours or during a scheduled maintenance window when you are 100% certain all agents are fully logged out.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive. We've traced the entire path from the high-level SAML assertion flow right down to the precise keystrokes needed for certificate trusts and bulk user migrations. Look, single sign-on eliminates password fatigue, it centralizes your security, and it just provides a vastly smoother daily experience for your entire contact center staff. The tools are all there, the reference designs are incredibly clear, so the only real question left is your contact center ready to take the next step towards seamless, secure access? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy deploying.